Okay, so today we're learning to complete the square when we have a leading coefficient. Step 1 is always the same. Move the coefficient, move the constant to the other side. And you guys actually don't have to rewrite these directions because you have the directions in there. There's just one little extra line of work we have to add. So you don't have to write this down again. You can pull it, go back to where we took them yesterday. So we're going to move that constant. Okay. Now, because there's a leading coefficient, there's like a step before taking half. So here's the extra step that goes before our step 2, which was take half the coefficient of the x and square it. So here's our new little step. This is the only new step. And you only do that when there's a leading coefficient. If there is a leading coefficient, divide it out. Of both sides. I'm going to need that space for work. Okay, so all you need to do, guys, is add this little starred part. This comes after step 1. If there is a leading coefficient, divide it out of both sides. So let's look at it. This gets divided by, what's the coefficient? 2. So this gets divided by 2. So this gets divided by 2. Did I divide everything on both sides by that leading coefficient? Everything.
I think it's to factor it out.
I told you there were multiple methods,
okay.
and I told you I was going to just show you one way that the fewest number of students miss.
Okay.
But yeah, you can.
Okay.
So here we get x squared plus 6x equals negative 7/2.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're back to take half the coefficient, square it.
Plus 3, or plus 9.
Okay, so what do we add right here? 9. So what do we add over here? 9. Okay, I got a fraction though, so you probably need to use your calculator. Probably.
11.
You're right. So this is 11 halves.
I'll read parentheses.
Oh, I got the same answer when I was.
Okay, what does this become as a binomial squared?
X plus 3.
X plus 3. So I'm not even going to dot. We know the rest of the directions. So this is our one new thing right here. This is it. Only thing new. Everything else is the same. So now what do I do?
Take the square root.
Take the square root.
Plus or minus.
Okay, now, before it was really kind of nice. Because when I had a fraction, the denominator was always 4, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I could take the square root of 4. But this one's not 4, is it?
No.
So this stinking coefficient messes this up. So what we have to do is multiply by 2 over 2. Do you guys remember when we
Yeah.
rationalized? So what we're going to do is get plus or minus 11 times 2 is 22. And 2 times 2 is 4.
Yeah, but
And what is the square root of 4? 2. Whenever we multiply a radical times itself. Now, do you guys see how I just extended the radical bar there? You could also write it like this. Could you write it like that? You could write it either way. So the 2 times the 2 gave us square root of 4, which is 2. 11 times 2 is square root of 22. Yes, ma'am.
For the process, I did the same. I did like what you would regularly do, and then I just divided by 2 after I got 11 equals 2x plus 3 squared, and then I divided by 2 on both sides. Would that work? Instead of dividing by 2 at the beginning for everything.
Do you have square root of 22 over 2?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to show you the other method because it sounds like several of you want to do the other method anyway. Okay, and that's fine. Just don't forget any steps on this one.
I just want to see what I'm doing next.
This second method, you can pick.
How come you have to multiply it? I figured out.
Okay, so this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps. Let's compare. This has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I don't know. It just made more sense in my head because we had already used that process. And it's
How
just
come
easier
that you
to
have
remember.
to multiply the 11 over 2 by 2?
Because you can't leave a radical in the denominator.
Oh, okay.
And so, because we can't simplify the square root of 2, we have to rationalize that denominator by multiplying by 2 over 2.
So whatever your denominator is, that's what you're going to multiply over on the other side? Like if it's like 11 over...
Whatever the denominator is
Okay.
what, yes. Yes,
Are you
ma'am.
always missing like 2 and 2?
If, nope, because sometimes this coefficient isn't 2.
So you just say 3.
So it just depends on what the leading coefficient is, yeah. Yes, sir. Okay. I got 18 because this is the way that several people wanted to do it instead. So instead of dividing out the 2, they factor out the 2. And when you factor out the 2, when you add 9 here, you have to add 2 times 9, which is 18 there. That's why I just divide out the 2 and I don't have to worry about it. So you can do it either way. They're both totally acceptable. If you like this way better, do it. I've just noticed over the last 19 years that my students get this way correct more often. Yeah. But if you're more comfortable with this, then do it that way. All right. Next one. Okay, this is going to be our last example before I give you some to try. It is 12, but you're not doing all of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a quadratic. Then we're going to complete the square to solve for x. What's step 1?
Move the 1 over 1 over.
Move the 1 over. Okay, Step 2 for me is when there's a leading coefficient, divide everything by that number. Now it's gone. Okay, 6 over 4. You guys know that reduces to 3 halves. Okay, so when I take half, what's half? 1, square it. 1. And over here I add 1. Okay, punch this in your calculator.
5 halves.
Good. Hey, try it, guys. 3 halves plus 1. You should get 5 halves. Okay? And then this side becomes x plus 1 squared. So we take the square root of both sides. So over here we just have x plus 1. Alright. Can I take the square root of 2? No, so I have to multiply by 2 over 2, right? So it becomes plus or minus square root of 10 over 2. And then move the 1 back. So we get 1 plus or minus square root of 10 over 2. It is. Okay, what we're going to work on today, guys, is the evens. The evens. We're just going to do the even number problem. So we get some practice with the easy kind, some practice with the harder kind, and 1 with the coefficient.
I've never said no. No. I've never said that.
Okay. I'm going to come back and check your notes, but the majority of your points from today come from these 6 problems. Please do it on a separate sheet of paper.
Oh, yeah.
I have arrows somewhere. I just have to find them and they're out there. Okay. Oh, they're messy.